Hello, this is the news on NTA International. Just so you know, you can follow this news on Vision TV 247 and other social media platforms displayed on your TV screen. Damidele John is the sign language interpreter. Let's see the headlines. President Bola Tinubu approves full implementation of age-long Orosanye reports. 13th World Trade Organization's conference in Abu Dhabi as concerns heighten over dwindling global trade. Plus, EU agri ministers converge in Brussels following growing farmers' protests across Europe. And in a landmark decision, President Bola Tinubu has approved the implementation of the age-long Orosanye report. This is one of the decisions taken at this Monday's meeting of the Federal Executive Council at the State House. The report submitted by the Orosanye Committee under the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in 2012 has endured successive administrations without implementation. By implication, some federal agencies will rather be scrapped, merged, or relocated.
The Center for Disease Control in the Federal Ministry of Health, National Emergency Management Agency to be merged with the National Commission for Refugee Migration and Internally Displaced Persons, the Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa to be merged with the Directorate of Technical Aid and to function as a department in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission to be merged with Bureau for Public Enterprises, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission to be merged with Nigerian Export Promotion Council, National Agency for Science and Technology and Science and Engineering Infrastructure to be merged with National Center for Agricultural Mechanization and the Project Development Institute, the National Biotechnology Development Agency to be merged with the National Center for Genetic Resource and Biotechnology, the National Institute for Leather Science Technology to be merged with the National Institute for Chemical Technology, the Nomadic Education Commission to be merged with the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult Education and Non-Formal Education, the Federal Radio Corporation to be merged with the Voice of Nigeria, the National Commission for Museum and Monuments to be merged with the National Gallery of Arts, the National Theatre to be merged with National Troupe of Nigeria, the National Meteorological Development Center to be merged with the National Meteorological Training Institute, the Nigerian Army University, BU, to be merged with the Nigerian Defense Academy to function as a faculty within the Nigerian Defense Academy, Air Force Institute of Technology also to be merged with the Nigerian Defense Academy to function as a faculty of Nigerian Defense Academy. We now move to the agencies to be subsumed. The Service Compact with Nigeria Servicom to be subsumed to function as a department under the Bureau for Public Service Reform. The Border Communities Development Agency to be subsumed to function as a department under the National Boundary Commission. The National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission to be subsumed into the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission. The Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution to be subsumed under the Institute for International Affairs. The Public Complaints Commission to be subsumed under the National Human Rights Commission. The Nigerian Institute for Trypanosomiasis to be subsumed into the Institute for Veterinary Research. The National Medicine Development Agency to be subsumed under the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development. The National Intelligence Agency Pension Commission to be subsumed under the Nigerian Pension Commission. For agencies to be relocated, the Niger Delta Power Holding Company to be relocated to the Ministry of Power, the National Agricultural Land Development Agency to be relocated to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, the National Blood Service Commission to be converted into an agency and relocated to the Federal Ministry of Health, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission to be converted into an agency and to be relocated to the Federal Ministry, to the Ministry of Finance.
The point is that the fact that you are merging does not necessarily mean that you are going to lose jobs. But of course, you know that efficiency will come in, and if efficiency comes in, If there is discovery that somebody is not, doing what he should do, he'll be supported to go elsewhere or create another avenue for him to get employed. The whole idea is not to throw people out of jobs. This is not the whole idea. The whole idea is to create efficiency and also make it possible for government to save funds where necessary.
The Council of Retired Federal Permanent Secretaries is set for its first ever week with the theme reflecting on the Nigerian public service, way forward for good governance. Haman Jabani reports.
The Council of Retired Federal Permanent Secretaries is a body registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission with membership comprising top civil servants who retired after attaining the grade of permanent secretaries and above. The Council decided to institutionalize the Confib Week as a yearly event commencing this year, where in addition to the general annual meeting, members will focus on an issue of national importance which will exhaustively discuss to provide recommendations on the way forward.
Where did it all go wrong? What is the way forward now for the civil service in our quest for good governance? These and many other questions are begging for answers. Just attend the colloquium, and you'll be able to drink from the fountain of knowledge of those at the center of it all and draw wisdom therefrom.
The Council speaks on some issues raised by journalists that involve the ECOWAS lifting of economic sanctions on Niger and others, appointment and tenure of permanent secretaries, the economy, among other issues.
So when you talk of generalized hunger, generalized need, the colloquium will address some of them, not in terms of details, but in terms of the direction of policies that will improve the current situation.
So these are the issues that we will look at and will provide suggestions to both the Office of the Head of Service and to the President himself.
The issue of ECOWAS is new for us. We must manage it well. But at the end, we need a sub-region that is safe, a sub-region that is secure, and we need governments across the board in West Africa, Africa, and overall that caters and meets the needs of its own people.
The Council of Retired Federal Permanent Secretaries, among other issues, is aimed at engaging meaningful discourse on importance and relevant issues of national development, including matters about the public service, drawing public attention to matters of desirable national living standard and standard of values, morality, performance, and conduct. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And the World Trade Organization has raised concerns over the dwindling global trade in the world, appealing to member states to make trade flexible and encouraging. The Director General of the organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said this at its 13th ministerial meeting taking place in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Musa Baba Aliyu has a report.
World Trade Organization is the world's largest international economic institution with 164 member nations, including Nigeria. The member countries are here in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, for the 13th National Conference tagged Mark 13. The agenda of the conference is focusing on both the environment and inclusivity in trade policy.
Members will seize this opportunity to discuss, exchange views, and attain further convergence with a view to providing the much-needed direction to ensure a strong and positive trajectory for the organization.
The Director General of the organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said WTO is hoping for progress, particularly on fishing, agriculture, and electronic commerce. She said in spite of the challenges facing the world, global trade remains the major contributor to the world economy.
Despite everything we have been through, global goods and services trade remain at or near record highs. International markets anchored in the rules-based global trading system have stayed broadly open, helping businesses, households, and economies adapt and adjust to one shock after the other. But it would be dangerously naive to take trade's continued resilience for granted. The global economic slowdown and wider uncertainty are already having an impact. global merchandise trade volume growth in 2023 appears to have fallen short of the 0.8% we were projecting in October.
Nigerian Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzuka Anite, is representing Nigeria at the conference. She presents Nigeria's stand on the draft investment facilitation for development documents, calling on other nations to adopt it.
I believe that the IFD agreement will complement Nigeria's ongoing reforms and initiatives towards unlocking opportunities within our economy, especially with regards to efforts towards making Nigeria a progressively easier place to start and grow businesses. We are confident that this agreement that seeks to foster closer international cooperation and create a more transparent, efficient, and predictable investment environment will lead to an improved flow of cross-border investment for development. We believe it is only by scaling up investments in our economies that we can participate and benefit from today's integrated and global and digital global economy. In this regard, we call on all WTO members to support the adoption of the IFD agreement as a WTO Annex 4 agreement in this ministerial conference.
The Republic of Comoros was welcomed to the organization, just as Rwanda joins the Fisheries Subsidy Agreement. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The United Nations Environment Assembly, UNEA, opens its 6th biennial sessions in Nairobi, Kenya. Francis Udojo reports that around 6,000 delegates, including 7 heads of state and 139 ministers and vice ministers, will attend the 5-day-long conference, which seeks to address critical environmental issues facing the planet.
UN President of EA6 said UN will aim to drive united, inclusive, and multilateral action that addresses every element of the planetary environmental crisis. The 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, UNEA6, which is taking place from 26 February to 1st March 2024 at the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya, will make decisions on the environment, aims to help restore harmony between humanity and nature, improving the lives of the world's most vulnerable people.
We begin this assembly with 19 draft resolutions submitted by countries and 2 draft decisions covering environmental priorities. During this assembly, we will aim to drive united, inclusive, and multilateral action that addresses every element of the planetary environmental crisis as one indivisible challenge.
UNEA6 will focus on how multilateralism can help tackle the triple planetary crises of climate change, nature and biodiversity loss, and population and waste, backed by strong science, political resolve, and engagement with society. The assembly will be an opportunity for world governments, civil society groups, the scientific community, and the private sector to shape the global environmental policy.
Today, in 2024, the international community is looking to us to deliver. This is our moment to advance the global environmental agenda. This is our moment to build on the pledges that were made in the 5 previous sessions and in the different environmental processes that occur between the sessions of the Environment Assembly.
UNEA6 was preceded by a meeting of the open-ended Committee of Permanent Representatives 19 to 23 February 2024, which helped lay the groundwork for the Assembly. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
And agricultural ministers from across the EU are meeting to discuss crisis in the sector as farmers on Monday set fire to piles of tires in Brussels in a protest to demand action on cheap supermarket prices and free trade deals. Again, Francis Udojo reports that riot police fired water cannon at protesters throwing bottles and eggs, while about 900 tractors jammed parts of Brussels, a short distance from the cordoned-off area where ministers were meeting.
Farmers have been protesting for weeks across Europe to demand action from policymakers on an array of pressures that say the sector is under, from cheap supermarket prices to low-cost imports that undercut local producers. to strenuous EU environmental rules. Another protest took place on Monday in Madrid, where farmers from across Spain blew whistles, rang cowbells, and beat drums, urging the EU to cut red tape and drop some changes to its common agricultural policy. Some of the farmers said it is impossible to stand these rules that subject them to work on the field during the day and deal with paperwork at night. Agriculture ministers were set to debate a new set of EU proposals to ease the pressure on farmers, including a reduction in farm inspections and the possibility to exempt small farms from some environmental standards. German Agriculture Minister Sam Otzmeier said the EU needed to ensure farmers could earn good money if they opted for biodiversity and green measures, describing talks of existing EU farm policy as a bureaucracy monster. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a short break now. More reports when we come back. Welcome back. Now, a power project tagged Light Up Nigeria has been flagged off by Vice President Kashim Shettima in the southeast. Chika Ugo reports that the project initiated by the Niger Delta Power Holding Company NDPHC is in line with the federal government's initiative to enhance power generation, transmission and distribution in the country.
Electricity is a source of energy needed by virtually all human activity in various sectors of the economy. Nigeria has over the years contended with epileptic power supply resulting from obsolete and inadequate infrastructure and poor management in the power sector. Despite interventions by successive governments, not much has been achieved to turn around that sector for enhanced and stable electricity supply in the country. The launch of the Light Up Nigeria project is one of the present administration's efforts in revitalizing the power sector for increased and sustainable power distribution for the nation's economic development. The Vice President, who is also the chairman of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, believes the initiative will end bottlenecks associated with electricity supply in the country.
We gather here today to embark on a transformative journey, the launch of the Light of Nigeria project in the southeastern states. This marks a renewal of hope for industrialists, for investors, and for the firms that have long endured the consequences of Nigeria's power supply deficit.
Implementators of the project are optimistic that it will provide reliable and affordable electricity to consumers.
Enable upscaling of production capacities by the industrial customers with increased export trading opportunities and foreign exchange earnings.
Southeast governors who threw their weight behind the initiative say it will boost the economy, create jobs and upscale production.
The people of Southeast are hardworking people, very enterprising people. Unfortunately, 85% of the industries in Southeast are closed down for lack of power.
It is initiatives like this that will drive our economy in Enugu and indeed in the Southeast to hit its stated objective in terms of industrial growth, GDP growth, and the eradication of poverty.
Participants had the opportunity to raise concerns bordering on estimated billing system among other electricity challenges affecting their businesses. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
Still staying with the power sector, the federal government is eager to render the necessary support to ensure the Azura power plant achieve its power generation capacity goal of 1,500 megawatts to boost contribution to national grid. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, made this pronouncement during his assessment tour to the Azura power plant in Benin. Obehi Otobo Aprasai reports.
The minister and his high-powered entourage, which includes the heads of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, the Niger Delta Holding Company, and Benin Electricity Distribution Company, were given a tour of the facility by the managing director, Azura Power Plant, West Africa. Constructed in 2018, the plant currently has a total output of 459 megawatts, with plans to expand to 1,500 megawatts in the nearest future.
Our operational metrics are best in class, availability close to 100% at all times. So we are, and he saw what we are doing, trying to help stabilize the grid. Not just that we put power on the grid, but we also make sure that we stabilize the grid for other power plants to be able to feed to consumers. As you heard from the Honorable Minister, he believes that our model is the model to go to ensure that power challenges in Nigeria is eradicated. It's simply for us to work with government, and I believe that the experience we've garnered over the years, that we work with government to make sure that it's replicated across the country.
The minister, who is clearly impressed with the privately owned power facility, said the federal government's plan to revamp the power sector will be in alignment with the Azura Power Plant model of operations due to its set standard.
I'm more than impressed with the model that they are running here. It's a private sector power plant, and I can tell you that of the 3 turbines installed here with a combined capacity of about 460 megawatts, all of them are working. They also have an expansion plan to even install additional 3 gas plants of.
And now to judiciary matters. Federal High Court Abuja Division has reserved ruling on the bail application of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Presiding Judge Justice Binta Nyako gave the order at the commencement of terrorism trial following an order by the Supreme Court that the court should continue with the case after quashing the ruling of the Court of Appeal. Judiciary correspondent Austin Anyebe reports.
The Court of Appeal in 2022 ruled against the extradition of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, from Kenya by Nigerian government, saying the process violated international treaties. This decision was challenged by Nigerian government with the Supreme Court in December 2023, quashing the judgment of the Court of Appeal, directing the Federal High Court to continue with the matter as preferred against the defendant. At the resumed hearing Monday, Counsel to the federal government, Adegboyega Awomulo, senior advocate of Nigeria, assured the court of the prosecution's readiness for trial, but counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, Aloy Ejimoko, pleaded to move an application for the defendant's bail and another on preliminary objection bordering on the legal weight between the Constitution and the provisions of Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. These applications were argued with the defense saying the court should grant the defendant bail considering his health condition as he is suffering life-threatening health challenges or which medications are not available to him at the DSS facility. The ground he relies on Section 161 of the Constitution. But the prosecution opposed the application, saying the defense counsel has not provided the court with any cogent reason to warrant the bail of Nnamdi Kanu, more so that the defendant has once been granted bail but jumped it.
A little disappointment remains that the court could not do a bench ruling on the bail application today.
The prosecution counsel declined comment. Having listened to argument by parties, Justice Binta Nyako adjourned the case to 19th and 20th of March 2024 for ruling on a bail application and continuation of trial. She warned that she would not condone any act of delay, asking them to file the names of witnesses they intend to call in the case so that on the 19th and 20th, appreciable progress will be made in the case. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has broken the jinx of not having its full complement of justices on its bench since its establishment as the apex court of the land. With the swearing in of 11 new justices, the court now has 21 justices as required by law. Delia Tumbi of our Judiciary Desk has the report.
The Supreme Court of Nigeria, as the highest court of the land, was established on 1st of October 1963. The court, established under Section 230 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, consists of the Chief Justice of Nigeria and other justices not exceeding 21. Since its establishment, the court never has the full complement of justices on its bench as required by the law. Justices of the court before now were 10, and with the additional 11 justices, the jinx has been broken. The court, with its full complement in line with the law, is expected to fast-track its adjudication on matters under its jurisdiction. Administering the oath of office on the new justices, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Aruola, urged the judicial officers to be upright in the dispensation of justice.
Your moral uprightness, integrity, and respect for the Constitution and other extant laws in operation must be unwavering and unassailable. At this level of adjudication, your Lordship should begin to see yourself as the representatives of the Almighty God on earth. Because
Nigerian judges, and I can tell you that this crop that came in, I can tell you of some very impeccable materials among them.
In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Now let's take a quick look at weather prospects for Tuesday. And this is where we end the news. We thank you for watching. I am Frama Panyi, and John Bamidele has been the sign language interpreter.